Hello and welcome to Gospel Library App Scripture Study Tutorials. I am Scott, and today we will be going over how to use QR codes in the classroom. So this is if you're a teacher or if you're teaching, you could use this in any sort of a classroom setting, especially when those in your classroom have a digital scripture device, some way to access the Gospel Library app. So check this out. So I'm going to just walk you through 3 steps here. First of all, so you create a Google Doc for your scripture block. So if you know how to create a Google Doc, do that. If not, figure out how to do that and do it. Let me show you what I've done. So over here, I've created a little folder in my Google Drive called Gospel Library Sheets. I have one for each of the standard works. I'll go to Doctrine and Covenants. I'll show you what I've made here for Doctrine and Covenants 1. So back in the days when you used to be able to give students little handouts or little glue-ins for their scriptures, well, with digital scriptures, those days in a way are gone, but in another way have been enhanced. So what I like to do here is kind of give them a color coding for different types of things they might want to put into their to their Gospel Library app through notes. So brown would be historical setting of the Doctrine and Covenants. Gray would be like the early manuscript if they want to link out to the Joseph Smith papers, where they can actually link to the earliest manuscript of the Doctrine and Covenants for that particular section. That's pretty awesome. Some students will nerd out about that. Others won't maybe find that very interesting. Yellow for general authority, quote, whatever. So here's what you do. Once you have a Google Doc created, then let's go back to our steps. Then you need to create a QR code and a shortened URL. Here's what I use. So I'm going to click on that. Go there. It pulls up this website. So this is totally free. You'll notice over here it says free text. We don't want that. We want URL. That's where we want to enter the big long URL that the Google Docs give us. So actually don't just copy and paste that. Come over here to the right hand side where it says share. Click that. Make sure that it says that anyone with the link can either view or can comment. Either one is fine. I'm going to click on copy link. Okay, link copied to the clipboard. Then I come on back over to QR code generator, make sure it's on URL, and I'm going to paste that right there. Now, 2 things are going to happen. So right underneath it says shorten URL. I want you to click that. And when you click that, it's going to turn that big long URL, that big address, web address, into something a little more manageable. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to show you why in just a second. Now over here, this is called a QR code. Now I'm going to go ahead and click save. It's going to ask me what I want to call it. I'm going to call it a DNC1 QR code. Perfect. Click save. It's going to ask me where. I'm going to put it in my Doctrine and Covenants right there. Click save. Awesome. Okay, so now we need to step 3 is put your QR code and shortened URL on a PowerPoint slide. So I already copied this URL, the shortened URL, and we're going to insert this QR code. Let me show you how it works. So here's DNC1, or maybe a PowerPoint. You can put something together like this. I'm just going to click on a blank screen. I'm going to click a little text box, and we're going to drop in. I'm going to paste that QR code. We'll center that. I'm going to make it a little bigger for students to be able to see. And then I want to insert picture from file. It's going to go to my Doctrine and Covenants, and I called it QR code, and there it is. I'm just going to drag that, make it a little bigger. Now we are ready for step 2. We're ready for class. Now the cool thing is when students have their phones, all they got to do is take a picture of that or open up a QR code reader. If they don't have access to a phone, they can just type in that URL down here. They have to keep the capital, lowercase, lowercase, and it will take them right to the Google Doc. Let me show you how it works. So from a student perspective, if you just ask them to pull out their phones, you have the QR code up on the screen, up on a projector or TV, doesn't matter. Just have them open up their camera. iPhones are particularly well adapted to QR codes. If you just touch the camera, open it up, it will automatically, as soon as it gets the full QR code in the screen, a little pop down will happen. See that? Boom. Open goo.goal in Safari. They'll just touch that. If you have an Android phone, it doesn't do that automatically, so you need to have some sort of a QR code reader app. But eventually, once they are able to snap it with an Android phone, it will also go to the same place. So I'm just going to touch this up at the top. Watch what happens. Touch that, and it pulls up the Google Doc that you just made. How awesome is that? And now they can go ahead and copy these and paste them into their Gospel Library app. Let me show you how it works. Let's just say to grab the historical context, I'm going to follow the instructions. Grab that, copy. It said to go to the top, Revelation given through Joseph the prophet. Awesome, that's what I'm going to do. Pull up Gospel Library app. I'm a student, just following the instructions. And here I am in DNC 1. You'll notice in my scriptures I've already done that. So here's what the finished product looks like. You'll notice the part that's kind of brown. Revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet. Over on the side, if I touch that, open that, look, there's the historical setting. That's what students would copy and paste right into their scriptures, and it will be there forever and ever and ever. You'll notice right above that, section 1, it's gray. Touch the little note to the side. This is the link to the early manuscript, so if I touch that, you're going to take it over to josephsmithpapers.org, where they can find the earliest manuscript copy we have of that section. Some students will find that interesting. I've also put in Elder Holland's quote that I wanted them to do, so this is kind of what the finished product looks like. Over to the side of verse 16, you'll see Elder Holland, great quote about idolatry right there. Solid, solid, solid. Even give a little tag down at the bottom, idolatry. Anyway, so as a teacher, just think about the possibilities. Let your imaginations run wild in the classroom with what you can do with QR codes and Google Docs together. If you have a class full of students with cell phones or laptops, you can use QR codes or that little address, the miniature address that we had. Let me go back to that so you remember what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about this little URL right here. Again, if they have a laptop, they could just go ahead and type that into the address bar at the top. Go ahead and open their scriptures up on lds.org. Log in with their LDS login, and they can do the exact same thing. It'll pull up the Google Doc, and they can copy and paste right over. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. One way to use QR codes in the classroom. Thanks for watching.